looking at this chart, the 60 minutes in the USD yen wants to go short, right? The hour is already short. It's been short for some time. The 1 minute, it is taking us long. But if we do take this trade long, we can get hurt. If pricing is at 97.71, I know it went long at about 69 or so. It's not worth it to take that kind of trade. I would prefer to wait for us to get way better trade. And let me see. We only about 10 pips for the hour to change going long anyways. So if that turns around and goes long, we'll be fine. And if we go back to the Euro USD, which is right there, the Euro USD, if you guys, the hour is actually is now short. So we can start looking to take short trades. As soon as this goes back long, we can take it short. But this isn't running yet. We are still stuck. The Euro USD is back to 75, 76. It was just at 80. We are in a 6 pip range, guys. We're not trading 6 pips range. That's not happening. We would get hurt. So let's be patient. The trade will come and we'll take it. The 1 minute will guide us to that. As it changes to go from short to long, we'll see it. Right now we keep going from about 80 to 73, 74. So 7, 8 pips. We're not doing that. Now here we go. This is the dollar yen, okay? This is the daily chart. Looking at it right now, it wants to go short. Cobra is just about turning to go short. If it does break short, it might go to about 96.75, which is 100 pips. But technically, we will be short. I know a lot of people are saying, I used to say that, hey, this is the USD yen. It has to bounce back. They do want to take it long. It's going to go long. But I've taken trades like that before where if my indicator says for me to go short and I'm saying, no, the Japanese government wants to weaken the yen, they're going to take it long. Yeah, that's all nice and dandy. But you know what? If they decide to drop this to 93, and I've seen them do it, they did that, I don't know, just like a couple months ago. They dropped it to about 93. Let's see. When was that? This is 95. They dropped it to about 95.80. I know it went to 93. Okay, here we go. 93.28. Okay. This trade, I was in it. Look at this. It caught every single thing for me from right there. Let me show you guys this, okay? And I'll tell you why I'm sharing this with you guys. I saw this turn. That was May 24, okay? I saw it happen. And that's when they had this huge talk about how the Japanese government, they were working on weakening their currency. Look, everything lined up. We had great power. The stop came on. It says, hey, look, you're short. And let me say this. It actually said to me, hey, stupid, you're short. Stop taking short, okay? I remember this. It dropped. We went to 103. That's when people thought it was going to go to 110. I had trade going long at 101. I had trade at 98. It dropped so fast all the way back to 93. And I was holding on to long position when I should have gotten out and start taking long, and I would have gotten all my pips back. Instead, I held on to the trade. We are not doing that stuff anymore. If the daily changes, it says we're short, so be it. Because we don't know where it's going to stop. Look, then it bounced back from 93.28. Again, Cobra says we are long. When it says we're long, that means we're long. We got to respect that. It took us long to 101.70. Then it's been ranging. It hasn't done much. It took us to 98. But we have to respect that indicator. It's really important. It hasn't confirmed short yet. Price is at 97.73. Should it drop in the daily confirmed short, we have to take short trades. Simple as that. Now looking at the EURUSD position trade. Again, it turned, put us long at about 35.83 or so, 100 pips. At this point, some people are saying, well, it might go to 137 and pull back. True, maybe not. It already broke 137 or 4. I don't know, but I know the daily says we're long. But the 60-minute short. So currently for scalping, we're just taking short trades, but there is no trades. This is unique because the price is 36.75. It is pretty expensive for the EURUSD. It is way overbought. I agree, but it is at the bottom of the ocean in the daily. Second day long. That doesn't mean it can't change. It can turn. So by tomorrow we're gonna have a third day going long. Over the weekend it might change. Right now pricing is at 136.75. It's just ranging. We can't scalp it. We can't do anything. All we can do is wait. But remember, guys, when things change in a daily position trades, we have to respect it. Yes, that is correct. If the USD yen breaks, let me pull that. If the USD yen breaks, it will go to 95. No question. They're not going to break it for no reason. If this goes short, the daily goes short, you can expect it to go to 95. So I'm not going to hold on to a trade when I know I can get out and then wait for it to turn around and I can take the trade then and go where I'm supposed to go. Yes, Fitch is still considering dropping the U.S. credit rating. That can happen within the next 3 days to 3 months. We just don't know. And if they do drop it, you can expect the dollar to go to the dollar yen to drop a whole bunch. The EURUSD to just go to maybe 140 if that happens. But that wouldn't stay long. It wouldn't be a permanent thing. It'll just go bounce back within a couple of days. Yeah, it is very crazy times, guys. Very crazy times. But it's all with those guys in Congress. I don't know, ridiculous. So looking at the dollar yen right here, the 1 minute looks like it wants to go long. Again, looking at the daily, it pulled back. It doesn't confirm yet, so technically we're still long. We just have to be patient. If we do not go short today, the weekend goes by, comes Monday, Sunday, this will rally and it will go long. It might even go long today. Wait until the US market opens. We'll see. But I can't take this. We're only about 8 pips from going long, so we can't take long yet. I want the hour to change, then we can just take easy long if this goes long. If the hour goes long, it's going to be easy. And as you guys can tell, this is just ranging, not much. The EURUSD is dropping a little bit. It's at 70 now. It went to 80. 10 pip, guys. That's where we are, 10 pip range. Let's be patient and we will get those trades, okay? We'll get them. All right, guys. It looks like here's a thing of beauty right here. Cobra is just changing to go long. 97.83, but nothing is confirmed yet. This is 3 minutes. We got some time. This is just barely getting going. But if it does go long, it's gonna be nice. So let's hang in there. It pull back again. So we are back short. but it wants to go long. So let's just be patient. Once the long is confirmed, then we can start taking some trades. Again, guys, this is the dollar yen. If you're looking at it, Cobra is just turning to show us it's going long. We still can't take this long because it hasn't confirmed yet. So we're sitting there, we're waiting for it. But if it does go long, pricing is at 97.84. Once it confirmed, it's going to be a beautiful thing, but we have to be patient. Oh yes, Tom. I'm going to be on the Asian session on Sunday. I follow it like crazy. This particular Sunday, I'm definitely going to be there at 6 p.m. As soon as the market, I'm talking about 6 p.m. That's typically when the Asian session they start really pushing it. As soon as it's 6 p.m., believe me, you will find me on my screen from 6 p.m. all the way until Monday morning. I'm not going anywhere. Well, I'm going to get some sleep in between, but after that, I'm going to be trading. But this is actually showing us, we know we're going long here. We're at 97.83. If this trend continues, we'll get some pips. But the EUR/USD is still stuck. It's at 81, 82. The hour is short in the EUR/USD. Here's what I don't like to do, and I just want to show you guys that, okay? You guys have to keep that in mind. Okay, at the moment, see, this is great. This is a 15-minute chart, okay? The 15 minutes has been long. It started going long at 97.64. So it's just been long. It ranged out a little bit, cross, went short, but didn't confirm. And now the hour is going long. But you know that, speaking of which, isn't that interesting if you guys are looking at it? In 1 hour, there's what, 15 minutes? Look at all the 15-minute bars that we had. You would think that we should have had a whole bunch of 4 hours, but not so, because there was so much selling and buying. The system actually computed and still said this is long, but not enough to change the hour, because there was so much selling in the buying. Again, pricing is pulling back again. We're at 81. But looking at the EUR/USD, the hour is short, but the daily is long. 15 minutes long. It's not doing much, but we cannot trade this because the hour is short. We cannot take a long. The safest thing for us to do is to take shorts only if the 15 minute was short. But right now, because it's long, and the hour short, everything is just backwards. We can't scalp this like that. Paulette said there is no clear direction. That's what Paul said. Paul said there is no clear direction, so we can't really take this straight. I agree with Paul. And here's our 1 minute. We're long, but we are still about some 15 pips away from going long, so we gotta wait. Yeah, it keeps hitting 85.
And this consolidation, I mean, obviously we don't know which direction it's going to break out. It looks to me though like we're going to retest these lows here, and most probably we'll get a bounce as the dollar strengthens after this news or debt ceiling agreement wears off. The market should resume because the bottom line is that the U.S. economy, for the most part, from what I'm reading and from a lot of the reports, it seems like everybody's in agreement that the recession is pretty much over with. It now just comes down to what the Fed is going to do as far as holding off on rate increases and things like that. So I do see the dollar gaining strength at some point, hopefully soon. And you can just see when you look here at the highs, if I show you guys the ranges. You can see that each time price came down to retest the lows, it was a higher level. So it was a higher low and then a higher low, and now we're kind of just ranging back and forth between 98.70 and 96.63, and we're right in the middle of that range at this point in time. So yeah, at this point there is no clear direction. You're right, Tom. It's just prices. I think the retail traders come in here and create these oscillations, and then it's going to take a bank trader, one of the large group of traders, to come in and break it through one of these levels in this consolidation pattern. So more than likely that's what's going to happen. We prefer something in this direction, but 100 isn't that far away if you look at it in terms of the daily chart. So it's very possible we could take off to the upside. This put down move here also is not very convincing. There's just not a lot of commitment in this to the downside. The candle is already forming somewhat of a doji pattern with longer. The wicks are longer than the body is. So from a candlestick analysis point of view, it just looks like there's not a lot of people that want to take it down below this area here. Let's see. So you can see here on the hourly just how tight that range has been. We're looking at 98.15 to 97.55, which appears to be the low that's been put in place. So okay, here's the Euro USD, and surprisingly this thing is holding this uptrend move after it got to 134 the first time and then came back down to 130 in September, and decided here, let me put some points to keep in mind. So basically, when we broke out of this consolidation right here at 134.18, it was clear sailing up to the next area of resistance, which was 137. But it broke out, consolidated, pushed higher. We can see that the buying activity, however, was very minimal. Even Cobra reversed and started going short right here after this push up. So which means that in order for this to happen here, the price action on these candles had to be very negative. So, and as we can see, if I zoom in, it in fact was pretty negative. We sold off. We were selling off here on the daily candles, pushing back down to 134.60s to 135.40s. That was the range. And then finally it did break up higher, but it never exceeded this level here on Cobra until we got over here to October 16th, where it just decided to break up a couple days ago. So now that this new long is pushed up above the highs of this pattern, we don't see, there's not a lot of conviction to the upside. This breakout move was more than likely a reaction to what they're looking into now, which was the manipulation of the currency and some other factors. But there really is no reason. The debt ceiling news had already come out. We're retesting the highs here at 137, so I don't see anywhere else that euro can really head up in this direction on the daily. It's just there'd be no reason for it to be up in the 138s, just given the situation overall, the economics of everything and what's happening here in the country. So I don't think this will hold, but we'll keep an eye on it on Sunday and see what happens there. In the meantime, let's see. On the hourly chart, you can just see this little tight range here consolidating before it broke out. You can just tell just by looking at the candles here the indecision from the buyers and sellers. These guys couldn't decide if they were going to take it lower or higher, and then for some reason there must have been some very large orders that came up here and just pushed it up from 3650s, 3660s up to 37. And now we are kind of on the 60-minute, we are kind of rolling back over to the downside. We had some selling come in, and now they're going to try to push it up again, and this cobra here will act as resistance. So we'll look and see if this can hold 136.99. Let me add my So while the intraday 60-minute, the momentum is still to the upside, it is slowing down quite a bit. As we can see, price is coming back towards, and our slower cobra is catching up to price here. So I would look to see price retest this and possibly push down towards 136.30s. If not today, then maybe by Sunday afternoon. So keep that in mind. And then let's take a look at the euro yen. So the euro yen's a little more messy than the euro USD. Pretty much been grinding higher since August 30th. From that point on, it pushed up, came back between a range of 129.30s up to 135. At this point in time, though, we are consolidating in this uptrend. It's not expanding, so this will be like a contracting price action here, where again, they're struggling to take it up over the highs and get back up into these previous high levels of 134.70s. Right now we're sitting at 130, what is it, 130, 133.77. So 135 would be the upward range of that. I'd like to see on Sunday as well. I mean, this will probably follow whatever the Euro USD is doing. Euro Yen is going to pretty much follow suit. Let me just compare real quick here again. Okay, so the price action looks a little different. Obviously, it's not identical, but the direction is about 100, very, very similar, very highly correlated. So it is pushing higher unless we get some news from Japan, however, to throw a wrench in all this. I don't really see the euro yen diverging from the euro USD, guys. So if you're looking at these two, comparing them, you can see that even though the price action doesn't look identical on these moves, like this swing down and then the swing up, it looks different on the euro USD. This was more like the sideways grind, and then it went up. So price tends to move the same direction but in a different way. And so it's just important to keep that in perspective. Oh, you're welcome, Patrick. I'm glad I'm glad it's helpful. All right, let's see here. Again, today I wouldn't expect much to happen. This is pretty much an inside day. It's another thing to keep in mind. Price has not exceeded the highs of this candle. It did push up higher, so it's not technically an inside day, but right currently where price is, it's back inside the range of yesterday. And if we close anywhere in this range, it will end up having been what I would consider an inside day. Some of these reactions to the upside, I would ignore that. But we'll see where the euro yen closes on the day, and if we can't get above the highs here or close above the highs today, then Sunday I would look for possible continuation back down to test the Cobra levels here at 133.20s, 132.70s, and then ultimately they would have to get through 131.90s to give me a real clear directional change in price. So we'll see if this is some sort of top for the weekend, or for the week, I should say. Again, on the hourly, you can see how price tried to test high a couple times here. Couldn't get above the highs there, and then just kind of pushed down, back down to 133.70s off the highs at 134. So it's pretty much following the euro. Sometimes it's hard to do analysis on these pairs when they move so similarly, but the candles do look a lot different, right? So if you compare this to your euro USD chart, they don't look exactly the same the way the prices move, but they end up in going the same direction. So, all right, let's see what else we got. So this trend line that I've drawn here has become somewhat of a resistance level now, because we did break through this. This was, if you look at it like this, I'll give you guys something to think about. So we have price channeling in this range, and it managed to hold this area of support twice. We tested it here, came through, came up, came back down, tested it right here. We're not able to break through, came up, tested it again here, and broke through. And then price consolidated, and now it's pushing against that. So think of it as like a resistance area. What was support before now becomes resistance. So price, if it cannot break back through this upward trend line, then I would look for a continuation to the downside. And let me just okay. And the reason being is that when they retest this upward trend line and they can't take it back above there, the buyers are making decisions here. If they're looking at the same technicals and they're saying, well, I'm not going to buy it at this point because it can't seem to break through. There's not enough interest to the upside. So, or there's not enough demand for the supply that's available here is another way to look at it. So if there's not enough demand for this supply, then we're probably going to sell into demand, which would mean there's more demand to the downside. There would be more availability for price for traders to take it lower. So there's a couple ways you can look at it. And that's the nice thing about using Cobra in the ocean is it kind of gives us a lot of that information without having to do all this other analysis, just because of the way the color patterns change. So we know when the ocean's angling higher, where price action has been moving up. There's been more buying activity as Cobra is pushing long. We know that buyers are in control. And as Cobra turns short, we know that while the selling might not be happening right away, we know that the buyers have subsided and there's too much supply at these upper levels, then there's not enough demand for it. Okay, so we can analyze it the same way. You look here at prices unable to break these new highs or get above this upward trend line. There's just too much supply up here. Nobody's willing to buy it at higher prices, or there is just enough supply here, so no one's had to push it higher because the bids aren't coming in. So for now it'll consolidate, and then on Sunday, if there's no one buying on Sunday, we'll probably start selling into yeah, Tom, I see the Euros kind of just testing back and forth in that range. I wouldn't read too much into the price action right now at this hour. What is it? About 8 a.m. almost. So again, there's no news today. Nothing's really happening. I think everybody's kind of just taking in the new agreement that's in place, and the traders are kind of setting up, deciding where they want to take things from here on out, based on the next set of news events that's coming up next week. So, which is, let's go ahead and take a look at that. So, for today, I say we're pretty much done. There are a few FOMC speakers, but I don't foresee that having a big impact on the market. And then as far as next week, we have home sales on Monday. Let's see. All right, let's try that again. We have on Monday morning, 7 a.m., we have existing home sales. That's going to be important. Tuesday, we have core retail from Canada, as well as a non-farm employment change and the unemployment rate. So Monday and Tuesday, very busy days in the market. So I think everybody's kind of just hanging on to the sideline, waiting in the wings, so to speak, for these the upcoming news this coming week. Wednesday, again, we have British asset purchases. That's high impact, and that's early or late Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. We have the Bank of Canada rate statement, which I anticipate they'll keep rates at the same. Let's see what the forecast is. There is no forecast, so it looks like they'll probably end up keeping things the same. So that shouldn't have a big effect. It might have an effect. A lot of these releases will have effects before the actual release. It'll just start pushing the market one way or the other because you get a lot of trading activity right before that. But as far as long-term move, I don't see anything yet. So looks like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, very busy, and then just a couple things on Thursday from out of Europe. And then we do have unemployment claims Thursday morning. again, new home sales, and Carney's going to speak. So next week is actually a pretty busy week for economic releases. Busier than this week, even though this week was just a little crazy because of the debt ceiling. But that's something to keep in mind as you guys plan for your trading. And again, we'll go over this as each morning before the releases, but sometimes it's good just to do a brief overview for what's coming up. Yeah, Tom. So alpha would have taken this long, except if your high and low reading, if the bar was too low, it looks like it skipped it. Which honestly, it could work out, but I'm kind of glad that it would have skipped that trade, just because of when we're going into the weekend. There's not that many hours left for today, so you don't want to be holding this unless you're going to do a position trade of some sort. I wouldn't want to hold this over the weekend. But the high and low will be very picky about, if there's not a lot of volume coming in, those bars don't get very tall or very, very long. I don't have a high and low there, but I have it over here on this one. Let's see. Yeah, because you can see right here on the down move, these things are huge just because of the energy behind that. And then now here we're starting to reverse. And even still, the high and low was negative. Don't ignore this reading because I have it set very low, but the candle itself the histogram bar is very low relative to these on the down move. And it's still technically some selling. That was selling coming in, not a buying candle or buying histogram bar. So it's I think it's good that it skipped that in this case. Yeah, exactly, Patrick. Everything's just ranging out like we talked about, and it's, again, on a day like today, after all the news that's we've been waiting for this week, I think everyone's just kind of sitting on the sidelines. Nobody wants to take that first leap. So we'll wait, and probably things will pick up Sunday night as the Sunday afternoon as the Asian markets get going into the European session. So we'll see. And then Monday morning, we got quite a few news releases this coming week. So beach day, that's good. I like that. If it warms up, I'm right with you on that.
Basically, the market ranged out all day today, Friday, so there was no trade. We didn't take any trade, but you guys could actually learn some stuff. The only thing that went long is the euro yen went long right here, but it's at the same price that it went long. So I'm not taking this as a trade at the moment, but it did go long. It's pushing going long. So that's about it. It was a very flat session. Have a good weekend, guys, and we'll talk soon.